Hello everyone, welcome to our Miao sharing event. I am Howard and I will be your host for today. Let's welcome all the speakers to come up. This is Yixuan.
Hi.
This is Eric.
Hello.
And this is Yaomin.
Oh.
Today,
Hello.
we are going to share the school experience of Sun Yixuan from Raffles Girls School, Eric Zhang from Hua Chong Institution, and Huang Yaomin from Raffles Institution. 大家晚上好，欢迎来参加我们的喵咪分享会。我是张翰，是您今晚的主持人。今天我们很高兴邀请了3位同学，来自来佛士女中的孙艺轩、华侨中学的张晨瑞以及来佛士书院的黄耀美同学，他们将为我们带来精彩的分享。But before we start, let me put out some rules for today's meeting. Please be respectful in the live chat room, and please note that audiences with inappropriate comments will be removed from the live event. If you have any questions, feel free to type it out in the live chat. We will answer them during the Q&A session. 如果您有问题，可以在直播聊天室留言，我们会在稍后的 Q&A 环节来回答您的问题。Also, let me introduce what we will be covering in the sharing. We will be talking about the different CCAs each school offers, the school's unique courses and special events. We will also be talking about each school's facilities and the exam format for their respective schools. 今天我们的分享主要在这几方面来谈，比如学校的 CCA、特色课程与活动、学校设施以及考试评估制度。First up, we will do some self-introductions. I am Howard from St. Joseph's Institution. I was previously from Nanhua Primary School. I like reading, science, 笛子 and guitar. 首先，请允许我做个自我介绍。我是张翰，今年在圣若瑟书院读中一。我小学就读于南华小学。平时我喜欢阅读、科学、笛子和吉他。First up, we have Sun Yixuan from Raffles Girls School to share her experience in secondary school. She was previously from Qifa Primary School. Her hobbies are reading, drawing, and music. 首先为我们分享的是来自来佛士女中的艺轩。她小学就读于启发小学，她的爱好是读书、画画和听音乐。Now, let's welcome Yixuan to share her presentation.
Hi everyone, I am Yixuan from Raffles Girls Secondary, and today I will be sharing with you about my secondary 1 journey. First of all, let me introduce myself. I was from Qihua Primary School and I got into Raffles Girls School through my PSLE results. I like reading, drawing, I can play the guitar and the piano, and I love listening to music. Other than that, I also like to watch anime. My co-curricular activity is guitar ensemble. Our seniors, teachers, and instructor are all very friendly and welcoming. Overall, CCA is undoubtedly a very fulfilling experience. Putting that aside, I will be going on to some simple introduction of my secondary school. This is our school crest. The colors of the school crest are the standard colors of the house of Sir Stamford Raffles, green, white, and black. The open book symbolizes knowledge and the burning torch of our commitment to forge character and develop life skills. The school's motto, Filiae Maloris Ivy, emblazoned across the crest, is Latin for daughters of a better age. It is our pledge to the community that those who pass through the portals of RGS will not simply inherit a fine tradition, but will actively forge a finer future for her community. If you decide to join RGS, do remember that if you're wearing pinafore, which is our formal uniform, remember to unbutton your first button and roll up your sleeves, or else you will get a booking. If you're wearing PE, do not tuck your polo shirt into your culottes, as similarly, if you do so, you might get booked. There are 5 houses in our school: Waddle, Buckle, Richardson, Talbot, and Hadley. The pictures you see here are their mascots. My own house is Waddle, and as you can see here, our mascot is Quack the Duck. When I first entered RGS, the first event that welcomed the new year ones like me was the Year 1 Orientation Week. It is a week where our seniors introduce the new year ones to the school, helping us familiarize with the environment, teaching us the school songs and cheers, and most importantly, welcoming us into the Raffles family. Though, because of the COVID-19 situation, we were unable to attend the Raffles initiation ceremony. If you're lucky enough next year though, you might be able to attend it. In Term 1, several fun activities await. The RGS Dress Up Day is one of them. This is where all the students, even the teachers and staff, dress up according to the given theme. The theme this year was puns. In this picture, you can see the students dressed up as the quote, "When life gives you lemons." Towards the end of Term 1, there is the Learning Journey Week, LJ Week for short. For an entire week, different learning journeys are planned out for our students. Students will be able to visit 4 different places and attend a program in school during this week. This year, we went to the Heritage Park, the McRitchie Reservoir, the Kokfa Technology Farm, and on the 4th day, we stayed in school to fill up a survey. On the last day, we went on a VIA activity, helping to clean elderly's homes. This event was definitely the most memorable, as we were able to forget about exam stress and just have fun. Towards the end of Term 4, the Netball Carnival will be held. Classes compete in various activities to win class points. This year, my friends and I participated in the shooting competition and we came in first. Of course, other than the events I have mentioned in this slide, there are many other fun activities organized. Moving on, I will be sharing about the facilities in RGS. First up is our Raffles tree. The Raffles tree is a bronze sculpture by the local sculptor Brother Joseph McNally. Located in the middle of our rival plaza, it is a symbolic representation of the version of our students' potential. Its 4 main spirals represent the school's 4 corporate values: people-centered, principled, passionate, and professional. The birds in a playful mood reflect the true spirit of learning, which is one of exploration, freedom, and enjoyment. Next up, the black box. The black box is equipped with a seating capacity of up to 250 people. It is designed to full flexibility with 4 LED display panels and seating platforms that are retractable and mobile. It also houses an overhead catwalk. The black box hosts a variety of artistic performances, allowing students to display their creativity and a multitude of talents. Thirdly, the roof tennis court. To optimize the roof usage, our 3 full-size tennis courts are located above the multi-purpose hall and indoor sports hall. The courts have a north-south orientation to minimize the effect of sun on play and are used to conduct PE lessons and CCA training sessions. Next, moving on to the Innovation Hub, which is the Capel Sandbox. It is a digital makerspace adjoining the Design and Technology Workshop. It is a safe space for students to ideate, incubate their ideas, create prototypes, and gather feedbacks on their products. Activities taking place here include tech talks, where students make a booking for the projector and invite their friends to their sharing to gather feedback. Next, our library. Our library is a 3-story space including study and meeting areas, seminar, and meeting rooms. Featuring full glass panels that provide natural daylight to brighten the space. The library also offers views of our campus and in particular, the Eco Garden. This is a conducive and relaxing environment for both learning and leisure reading. Next, the statue of Athena. Athena is the goddess of wisdom and warfare, and patron of Athens in Greek mythology. A theme reflected in the RGS school song, From High Olympus. The statue symbolizes wisdom and creativity, qualities crucial for daughters of a better age. Lastly, our Eco Garden. It is one of the many green spaces on our campus. The wide variety of plant species that can be found here encourages biodiversity in the school compound. Our Red Dot campus is definitely attractive. Other places in our campus include the rooftop garden and the butterfly garden. Now, I will be sharing about the examinations in RGS. You will be taking about 8 or 9 subjects, the 4 core subjects, English, Chinese, Math and Science, the Humanities, English Literature, Geography, and History. The other subjects is Inquiry and Advocacy. This is a special subject, which is kind of similar to debate, but don't worry as it will not be recorded in your GPA. The last subject will be your third language, usually Japanese, French, or Spanish. There are mainly 4 types of assessments. Alternative assessments, usually called the AAs, are products such as posters or short projects assigned by the teachers to test the students' understanding of the subject. The AAOL usually include verbal communication. The AAOLs given in year 1 this year include creating your own podcast and mother tongue oral examinations. Next, the pen and paper assessments. PPAs are otherwise known as SA1s and SA2s. And lastly, the end-of-year assessments, also known as the EYAs. The grading system in RGS is quite different. In most secondary schools that I know, the A1, A2 grading system is used. In RGS, however, we use the GPA grading system. This would be elaborated on by the teachers if you decide to join my school. Next, I'll be talking about the special curriculums in our school. Some of our special curriculums include the research study program, where students develop their passion and interest by expressing themselves and showing their talents through the different programs. I joined CMPS, the Community Service Program. Some of the others include Odyssey of the Minds and other academic RS programs. In terms of leadership, there is the EXCO selection, which will be conducted intra-class. The EXCO consists of 6 people, the chairperson, 2 vice chairs, 2 secretaries, and the CLE leader. Also, the student leader training. The SLT selection will be conducted at the end of year 1, the last few weeks of term 4. You have to self-nominate and get approval from your teachers and peers. Some roles you can apply for are prefects, peer support leaders, student congress, and house captains. Moving on, I will be talking about the co-curricular activities in our school. As usual, there are uniform groups, performing arts, clubs and societies, and of course, sports. I will not be going into detail about the CCAs, as if you decide to join, you will receive a whole list of them. The CCA trial and selection is conducted at the start of the year. First, you will be required to stay back after school. All the CCAs will have set up booths, and you will be going to every one of them to get the details, like training timings and requirements to join. After that, you will apply for CCA trials. You are allowed to apply for as many as you want, but you are required to go for at least one uniform group CCA trial. Interviews and tryouts will be conducted, and after that, you will receive your results. If you do not get selected in the first round of selection, you will be required to go for the second round. Next, I will briefly talk about how my impression of secondary school life has changed. Initially, I was stressed about the overwhelming workload that I might deal with and about meeting new people. However, after experiencing a whole year, I realized that I had managed to handle the overwhelming workload given to us, and to my relief, everyone is friendly and inclusive of one another in my school. Next, I would like to recommend some books that I like. The Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling, as I'm sure many of you have read it. Harry Potter is a series of 7 fantasy novels. The novels chronicle the lives of a young wizard, Harry Potter, and his friends Hermione Granger and Ron Weasley, all of whom are students at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Next, Escape Room by Marion Stoffels. It is about how three best friends went to an escape room with the antagonist. The escape room turned out to be a trap made by the antagonist and his sister. The three best friends almost died trying to escape, but were successfully rescued, and finally realizing how important they were to one another. As I'm coming towards the end of my presentation, I'll be sharing some of my own advice. In terms of academics, I would say that just plan your time productively and do not procrastinate. The workload given will be the highest in terms 2 and 3, as this year we were given 5 alternative assessments at once. As you will be getting your personal learning device, you should use it productively by setting reminders with the apps given. Organize your work using the apps and use the file spot at the start of the year, as the teachers might conduct file checks at random timings throughout the year. Lastly, start your revision early. This is especially recommended for humanities subjects, such as history and geography, as there is a lot to memorize. I think these advices are common sense, but you should actually put them to practice. Other advice I would share about would be to volunteer yourself. This is important if you want to apply for the SLT program. Creating a good impression is important as it would increase your chance of getting into the program. You should also choose your CCA and research study based on your interests. This is particularly important as it is unlikely for you to change your CCA after the first term, and the research study program will go on for 9 months. And lastly, be nice to everyone. Last but not least, I would just like to wish you all the best for the secondary school. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and let's welcome the host back to the stage.
Thank you, Yixuan, for your sharing. 谢谢Yixuan的分享。现在我来简单总结一下他刚刚的分享。Yixuan给我们介绍了来佛士女中的校园设施、考试评估方式以及特别的课程设施，还有很多有趣的 CCA。最后，他也给学弟学妹一些很好的建议，就是做事情不要拖延到最后1分钟，考试前要提早复习。Thank you once again for your presentation. You can take a rest now. Next, we have Eric Zhang from Huazhong Institution to share his experience in secondary school. He was previously from St. Anthony's Primary School. His hobbies are practicing calligraphy and reading. 接下来为我们分享的是来自华侨中学的张晨瑞，他小学就读于圣安东尼小学，他的爱好是书法和阅读。Now let's welcome Eric to share his presentation.
Good evening, everyone. Today I will be introducing you to Huazhong Institution. So, first of all, to begin my personal introduction, I came from St. Anthony's Primary School and eventually made it into Huazhong Institution with my PSLE results. I have a very lovely handwriting, which I like to practice. I use it for all sorts of assignments, including examinations. I'm also very fond of experimenting with art, which means I'm in the AEP program at Huazhong Institution. And last but not least, I also love reading. So on to my school. It was founded on March 21st, 1919 as the Chinese High School, and it was merged with Huazhong Junior College on January 1st, 2005 to form Huazhong Institution. It stands on approximately 72 acres or 29 hectares of land, making it the largest high school in Singapore and one of the largest high schools in all of Southeast Asia. So this is a map of our school. As you can see, it spreads across 3 bus stops, and it also has 5 gates. So about the school. This is our 3rd gate. As you can see on the sign, it says the Chinese High School, as it is one of the items that remind us of our past. Our most famous building would be our clock tower, which was officially gazetted as a national monument on March 19th, 1999. If you are very lucky in secondary 4 and your class makes it to the top 8 classes, you will get yourself your very own classroom in the clock tower. And I would tell you that it has a very wonderful view over the field. Next would be the Kongqian Library. It is the largest library in our high school section, and it was renovated just recently. Sometimes teachers would bring you there for lessons. Its roof, it has amazing skylight. That's all I can tell you. We also have a SALT Center, which is dedicated for some CCAs, such as uniform groups and sports. Additionally, we also have many other facilities, including auditoriums, research centers, multiple lecture theaters, an art gallery, and an Olympic-sized swimming pool, which is shared with our international school. We also have two overseas campuses, one in Beijing, established in 2007, and another in Xi'an, established in 2011. Our school has 4 consortiums, including Affiliate, which I am in. It specializes in mathematics and science. So if you did well for mathematics and science in PSLE and in primary school, do expect yourself to be placed in Affiliate if you come to Hwa Chong. There is also iSpark, which is our consortium for the members of the gifted education program in primary school. That is, if you make it to our school. And we also have a Autis consortium, which focuses around bilingualism. Last but not least, there is also the ProEd consortium. When you get to secondary 4, you will no longer be governed by the consortium councils of each consortium. Instead, there will be a high school council, which you can also apply to join. Regarding our curriculum, these are the special courses available for secondary 1 and 2. There is, of course, the art elective program, which I am in. You would be given a chance to enter this program when you first come in during the first art lesson. You would be tested on your art skills, and whether you would pass would be determined by the teacher. There's also the Malay special program and the Chinese literature, which is something special to ASAP schools, I believe. There is the third language courses, which are available for all schools. Unfortunately, although our school does offer the art elective program, it does not offer the music elective program, meaning that if you are interested in music, I would still recommend you coming to our school, but do note that whenever you go for MEP lessons, you would have to go to another school. Of course, the school would arrange your travel. Lastly, there is also the Appreciation of Chinese Culture program, which is very special in our school. I have enjoyed it very much, and it covers a lot about Chinese history, literature, and calligraphy, just the general exposure to the Chinese culture and tradition. And these are the special programs which are available from secondary 3 onwards. Whether you get into one would be determined by your secondary 2 end of year results. There is the Bicultural Studies program, which focuses on the political studies between China and the United States of America. There is the Science and Mathematics Talent program, which is our most popular choice. It is also the only talent program which has 2 classes instead of 1. There is also the Humanities program, which I am interested in, so I joined it. Next, there is the Chinese language elective program, which focuses around literature. Please note that the CLEP program is different from the BSP program in that the CLEP program focuses around literature instead of politics. There's also a new special program known as the Computing Talent program. It's very new. It was added only last year. This year is its first batch. So if you are interested in computing, I would suggest you come to our school, as we have a very new program just for you. Moving on to CCAs. We have over 30 CCAs for you to choose from, including sports, uniform groups, clubs. In addition to all that, we also have many cultural CCAs, including Chinese orchestra, Chinese drama, and calligraphy, some of the special CCAs for ASAP schools as well as us. Next, I will be talking about our examination system. There would usually be 2 or 3 common or class tests spread throughout the year, usually around terms 1, 2, and 3. The end of year examination takes up 70% of your grade. So even if you did not do well for common or class tests, I would say that turning over a new leaf and studying hard for the end of year examinations would save your results. Our school also has a very unique examination system in which students can be exempted from the EOY examination. Depending on the subject, your performance through the year will determine whether you would be exempted from the final examination. If you're exempted from the final examination, you would not be required to sit for the examination, and you also automatically be awarded for the full marks, and you would not have to go for the paper check. I was exempted from mathematics last year and mathematics and English this year. So if you are good in one subject, and if you ever wish that there is some way for you to stand out, I would suggest that you come to Hwa Chong Institution, as this unique examination system is suited just for you. These are some of the most memorable events in our school. Of course, there is the Secondary 1 orientation camp, and also the Secondary 1 camp, which happens at the end of the year instead of at the start of it. During these camps, you'll be taught the school cheers, brought around the school, experience its facilities, etc., etc. There are also sabbaticals, which I believe are special to our school. What happens is that you'll be rewarded points based on your grade, and with these points, you can bid for your favorite sabbatical to attend. Sabbaticals usually include very interesting events, such as, say, art and other events, and there is also Light Up with Literature, which is a special event which I attended. It is for literature. Those who are interested in English, I would recommend that you go to this event. What happens at this event is that you would have to practice your public speaking skills, and you even have the chance to recite a Shakespearean poem. There are also consortium activities, which are the consortium days at the end of the year where we celebrate as a consortium, and also other activities such as we had a gardening for my consortium, Affiliate, and there's also one which we missed. It is for mathematics. Affiliate specializes in mathematics, so we actually host Hwa Chong's Olympic mathematics competitions. Now on to my journey. So my personal thoughts. Originally, I was not very confident, and I'm not very fond of the Chinese language as well as culture. I did not even take higher Chinese in primary school when I was given the chance. This meant that I was quite lacking in the Chinese language when I was in primary school. However, I was very attracted by Hwa Chong's enormous campus as well as amazing architecture. So support from my parents, especially my father, to join Hwa Chong and improve my Chinese language. Although my PSLE grade was not too outstanding, I have made many improvements while I am here. I developed a very fond love for Chinese culture and tradition through our Appreciation of Chinese Culture program, and I also formed many lasting friendships in my class. Eventually, I made it into the humanities program with a grade of 1.125. I received A1 for 7 out of 8 of my subjects. In Secondary 1, I obtained a A2 for the Chinese language, which I did not expect since I did not take higher Chinese in primary school, and I all of a sudden have to take higher Chinese in secondary school. However, I continued to work hard, and eventually I was able to obtain A1, the highest grade possible for Chinese language in Secondary 2. So personally, I'm very glad that I've chosen Hwa Chong. It's not very competitive, and everyone was very welcoming. One point is that it is a very open-minded school. My teachers never once complained about my handwriting, although some of my friends did say that it was hard to read, but it is a lot better than primary school, which many teachers complained about my handwriting. So essentially, I have grown very fond of the school and the people. These are my personal recommendations. My favorite reads are often fiction and English. I've read The Hunger Games, Animal Farm, and The Lord of the Rings. I do also enjoy reading non-fiction magazines. These include Time Magazine, National Geography, and Reader's Digest, which I currently am still ordering. For movies and shows, most of it is based off my books. I've watched the full Hunger Games series since I love the books. I, of course, did love the movies. I've also watched the Avatar science fiction movie. Another favorite series is Star Wars. And I have also watched the TV show, The Man in the High Castle, which discusses the possibility of Japan and Germany, the Axis powers, winning World War II. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you, and I wish you a wonderful night. Let us now pass time back to our host, Howard.
Thank you, Eric, for your sharing. 谢谢 Eric 的分享。现在我来简单总结一下他刚刚分享的内容。Eric 给我们介绍了华中美丽的校园、考试评估方式以及丰富的 CCA。华中对优秀的学生有免考制度，非常特别。他还分享了自己在华中的经历。他小学没有修读高华，到了华中修读高华，并且中二可以拿到 A1。 这真是非常了不起的成绩。Thank you once again for your presentation. You can take a rest now. Finally, we have Yaomin from Raffles Institution to share his experience in secondary school. He was previously from Southview and Nanhua Primary School. He likes reading and coding. 最后，我们有来自来福士书院的黄耀明同学来分享他的中学生活。他小学就读于南山小学和南华小学。他喜欢阅读和编程。Now, let's welcome Yaomin to share his presentation.
Hello, everybody. Hello, parents and audience. I am Huang Yaomin, and today I shall be introducing Raffles Institution and the experiences in the school. Now, firstly, about myself. I was originally from Southview Primary School, but through the GEP program, I was able to go to Nanhua Primary School. And through PSLE, I was able to get a decent score and get to Raffles Institution. My current class in Raffles Institution is 2L, and my current CCA is the Raffles Institution Chinese Orchestra, otherwise known as RICO. Now, some of my hobbies includes reading, social media, coding, video gaming, and rendering. Okay, so now about RI. RI is the oldest school in Singapore with 198 years of history. In fact, it is getting close to having 200 years of history, and if you join RI now, you will definitely be able to see its bicentennial. Our school mascot is Griffles, which is a griffin, a symbol of power and prestige. Raffles is also the second largest school in Singapore after Huazhong Institution, and Raffles is quite famous for its fierce competition. Now, in RI, there are 13 classes per year labeled A to L, and each class has on average 30 to 40 people. There are 5 houses which are randomly assigned to by class at the start of year 1. They are Harlot, the Black Stallion, Bailey, the Yellow Lion, Buckley, the Green Dragon, Moore, the Red Phoenix, and Morrison, the Blue Wolf. Now, Harlot has not won Harlot, which is my house, has not won the house championship for a long time. By the way, RI has this thing called a house championship, which the different houses compete through various inter-school events in order to gain this thing called house points, which at the end of the year, at the conclusion of the house championship, the winning house will be able to get certain privileges which deviate from year to year. Now, Harlot this year has finally won the house championship after 15 years of not winning it. Now, what are some special events that RI has? There is firstly the year 1 orientation camp, which every incoming student into RI has to attend. One main aspect of the orientation camp is that you have to sleep in a tent together with 3 other classmates from your class. Usually people say that it is not very comfortable, but it will allow great bonding between classmates and allow classmates to interact with each other, thus allowing the next 2 years of interaction to become smoother. Now, in orientation, you stay the whole day in school, thus you will have showers and eat in school. And as I have mentioned, sleep in school. The showers are usually 5 minutes long due to the pure amount of students in the year. Now, another special event that RI has is the Reflection Spotlight. Usually, this consists of students signing up and playing a lot of songs. usually K-pop songs and anime themes. There are occasionally a few magic tricks also. Another prominent event in RI is Promethean Day, otherwise known as the day which the newest prefect committee is elected to their roles. Now, regarding the process of how to become a prefect in RI, firstly, the prefect is chosen by the teachers from the class to be listed upon the candidate prefect list. Then the students are to vote for their favorite candidate, and around 30 candidates actually make it to become an actual prefect in the school. On Promethean Day, the old prefectorial board and its head prefect will pass on the Promethean torch to the new prefectorial board. The Promethean torch is a symbol of ingenuity and perseverance. Another interesting event that RI has is Founders Day, which we commemorate the day which RI was founded back in 1823 by Sir Stamford Raffles. This is usually considered a holiday by many religions and would usually involve celebrations of our founding. Now, what are some unique facilities in RI? Firstly, there is the RDS, otherwise known as the Raffles Discovery Studio. This is an enclosed space in the Shears block of Raffles, which is 30 meters by 2 meters long and has many advanced technological facilities. This includes a 3D printer, which you can use if you apply a specialized form for it. Many iPads. Currently, RI has also put out the usage of iPads to the students also. Thus, if you get into RI, you will also be able to get your own iPad that you can use at home and in school in order to facilitate your learning. There is also interactive projections which the RDS has. Usually, the teachers will bring you or your classmates to the RDS if they need a lot of engagement for the class. Like, for example, if the particular topic is extremely important and they want all of the class to be paying attention. Now, there is also the Reflection Science Hub, which is a large block around the back gate of RI, which has 3 biology laboratories, 3 chemistry laboratories, and 3 physics laboratories. There are many modern facilities and many laboratories, including an AAS, an FTIR machine, many microscopes, and even our very own greenhouse. You can volunteer for gardening service in RI to take care of the refrigerant greenhouse, and this will actually contribute to your points. Now, RI also has a large variety of CCAs. My own CCA is the RI Chinese Orchestra, otherwise known by the Reflections as RICO. RI has 3 main classes of CCAs, including the sports like basketball, badminton, cricket, or fencing, or even sailing. There is the Performing Arts CCA, which includes my CCA, Chinese Orchestra, guitar ensemble, and debate. There is, of course, also the uniform group CCAs, which include Boys Brigade, Red Cross, and Scouts. Now, with so many CCAs, it may be very hard to choose which CCA that you may want. Now, how do you choose your CCA? My first and foremost advice to people when choosing CCAs is you must go according to your passion. Because in RI, much like in other secondary schools, you have to choose your CCA by the time you are year one, and you are not usually not allowed to change your CCA throughout the 4 years that you are in RI. Thus, I would recommend you to go according to your passion. Otherwise, your CCAs will seem very monotonous and very boring, and you will not be able to get anything out of it. Secondly, you can go according to your skills done, especially if you like several CCAs. You have to consider what the CCA actually does to you and your chances of getting into good universities and what you can actually learn from the CCA. Now, in RI, very importantly, there are core and merit CCAs. What is the difference? Now, in core CCAs, your attendance is mandatory and the CCA is conducted thrice a week. You must absolutely attend this CCA and you usually cannot skip it. But merit CCAs, they are elective, as in you can choose them if you really like the particular subject. Certain examples of merit CCA include math club, science club, chess club, and infocom club. They are based upon interests. They conduct CCAs twice every week, usually not in clash with your core CCA, and they can be skipped. An interesting thing about merit CCAs is that it can become your core CCA after you stay in the merit CCA for more than 2 years. But up till that happens, you still have to attend your core CCA. Now, what are some unique curriculums that RI offers? Firstly, there are the main unique curriculums in year 1 and 2. For the RI normals, firstly, there is the Euler program and the Galileo program in years 1 and 2. As you can see, the normal syllabus, otherwise known to the Rafflesians as the RP Raffles program syllabus, usually goes all the way to O level, and this is considered normal syllabus and does not include as much project work as the Euler syllabus. The Euler syllabus has one more topic than the normal RP syllabus and will usually teach things up till advanced Sec 3 and 4 curriculums for year 1 and 2s. This one extra topic will usually mean that the people in Euler would be able to get better results than the people in normal syllabus, but not significantly better results. Now, the Euler program is also a full-out program, so you are actually supposed to attend the Euler classes the same time as the normal classes. Galileo is a non-full-out class, which means that you will attend the classes after school as a form of elective CCA. Euler is a special class for mathematics, whereas Galileo is a special class for science. Now, regarding how you get into Euler and Galileo, there is a selection test at the start of year 1, which will measure your aptitude towards math and science. If you pass this test and pass the interview following it, you'll be able to get into Euler and Galileo if you like to. Now, the unique curriculums for year 3 and 4 in Raffles is mainly the Raffles Academy. This is also the most wanted unique curriculum in RI. Now, the Raffles Academy, instead of going like the normal syllabus only towards O level and some of A level syllabus, it goes fully towards A level syllabus and it teaches all of A level. There is more project-based assessments in Raffles Academy, especially the first 3 assessments. However, you will still take the same exams for EOY for Raffles Academy. Now, for Euler and Galileo, despite taking a more advanced class for Euler in math, you will still like Raffles Academy take the same exam for the end of year exam. Now, Raffles Academy is also beneficial for your university application if you ever get in, because it is an extremely exclusive class. It is also a pull-out class, which means that you will also be demanded to attend the Raffles Academy classes during the time of your normal classes, as in you do not attend the normal classes, you attend the special Raffles Academy subject. Now, Raffles Academy also goes according to subjects, as in you can take Math Raffles Academy or Chemistry Raffles Academy, Biology Raffles Academy, but you can only take 2 Raffles Academy subjects every year. Only 20 people get into the option of choosing 2 Raffles Academy subjects for each batch. Now, even if you didn't get into Raffles Academy, it is okay, because you would still take the same exams for the end of year exams. Now, how does exams in Raffles institution work? In Raffles, we use the 4+1+1 system for exams. This means the 4 subjects, otherwise known as the 4 core subjects, English, Math, Mother Tongue, and one of the sciences, or science if you are in year 1 and 2, 1 humanities, or if you are in year 3 and you have taken a subject combination, it's either 1 humanities or either one of your sciences and one of the remaining best subjects. If you have a third language which you have chosen after PSLE, the best subject must be your third language. Now, all these 6 subjects are added together, divided by 6, and becomes your final GPA, otherwise known as APR. The maximum GPA you can get is 4.0, which happens if all 6 of your subjects are all 4.0s. Now, usually, getting the maximum GPA 4.0 is very rare, and the person that gets it, and there are usually only 2 to 3 people that get it per year. Now, every year you have to take 9 subjects, 9 or 10 subjects in total. This comprises of English, Math, Chinese, Science, Geography, History, Literature, and third language. These 8 subjects are only for year 1 to 2. For year 3, you can take 9 subjects or 10 subjects, which are English, Math, Chinese, 3 sciences and 1 humanity, or 2 sciences and 2 humanities, and the third language, which adds up to a total of 9 or 10 subjects in total, depending on whether you include your third language. Now, some study tips. So, some advice is do not procrastinate. RI has an increasing amount of work every single year, and if you procrastinate, in the end, you will not be able to do a lot of work, and as the deadlines impend, you will be forced to cut back on a lot of your plans and activities in order for you to be able to catch up on the large amount of work that RI sets. However, the work is usually manageable if you do not procrastinate. You are usually given 2 to 3 weeks to finish a particular piece of work, but these pieces of work are also particularly demanding and large. Thus, you would need the entire 2 or 3 weeks to be able to finish the particular piece of work. And Thus, it is not recommended for you to procrastinate, otherwise you will be missing out on a lot of work. And eventually your work will start to pile up, and this will cause you a lot of stress and burnout. And you will panic. Now, another thing you must do is to organize your work. You must get your most important and the ones with the deadlines the closest done first. Otherwise, you will have a lot of work piling up your desk and nothing to, and this will eventually cause you a lot of stress. You must also revise regularly as the workload doubles every year. So the workload is already relatively large by the time it gets to year 2, and it gets progressively larger every single year. Now, another important tip is to file your work. If you do not file, you will see that a lot of your work is extremely messily spread out, and by the time it comes very close to exams and your teachers start to give you a lot of revision worksheets, you will find that you will be missing a lot of worksheets and you cannot find the worksheets whenever you want them to. And if you lose any notes, usually there aren't any replacements, and you have to ask your friends or classmates who have them, which don't usually succeed and would usually result in you wasting a lot of time and panicking. If you do not file, you will also have a lot of work jumbled up and you won't be able to revise very effectively. So how your work should be is you should put all your notebooks, categorize it according to subject, and stack it neatly in a place that you can easily see. And you should file all your work according to subject, date, and concept in your files. And arrange the files nicely in a particular cabinet in your room. Now, another very important thing you must do in Raffles is to revise constantly. If you do not revise constantly, you will find that all the knowledge that you have learned at the start of the year will start to dissipate from your mind, and by the time it is getting very close to exams like October, you will realize that you have not grasped all those knowledge that you have learned throughout the years, and you may have forgotten some things and some essential skills. Thus, it is important to revise constantly. The teachers would try to help you throughout the years by giving you a lot of worksheets to allow you to review your knowledge, but most of the revision, especially in science and the humanities, you will have to do yourself, and you will indeed have to revise quite constantly. Otherwise, you will find your time running out extremely quickly before your exams come. If you find that you have not revised constantly, you will also find that a lot of these you will find cramming extremely difficult in RI, as there is quite a lot of things that they teach you per year and a lot of concept-based things that you have to use constant practice and revision to be able to master. Thus, if you do not revise constantly, you will find yourself under a lot of pressure, stress, and burnout. Now, my experiences of RI has transitioned from getting a lot of stress and appearing and thinking Raffles as this place with a lot of competition to eventually realizing that, to eventually becoming much more grateful for me being able to get into RI and eventually finding much more help and support in RI. I was able to greatly expand my social circle and greatly able to expand my worldview after entering RI. the skills that the teachers and the faculty will teach you, especially your friends, will be extremely helpful throughout your life. And the amount of insights that they give you will also be quite unique and quite useful to you. It is. I will also like to emphasize how important is it for a student in RI to have a relatively healthy sized friend circle, because most of the time you spend in your school, you will need the support of your friends and a lot of help from your friends in order for you to be able to succeed and survive in RI. Now, I've come to the end of my presentation. Thank you, and I wish you all a wonderful evening. Now, let us pass this back to the presenter.
Thank you, Yaomin, for your sharing. 谢谢Yaomin的分享。那现在我来简单总结一下他刚刚的分享。他介绍了来佛士书院很多有趣的活动和校园设施。他还给我们分享了来佛士书院丰富多彩的 CCA 以及如何选择自己喜欢的 CCA。最后，亚美还给我们分享了一些非常实用的实习经验，比如要整理好文件、定期复习等。Once again, thank you, Yaomin, for your sharing. Now, let's welcome Yixuan and Eric back. We will have our Q&A session now. We have collected many different questions from the WeChat group and the live stream, and we've selected some of the questions which we'll be answering now. 我们在微信群收集了很多问题，现场也有一些提问，我们现在来回答这些问题。Question 1. 假期如何准备中学生活？ How do you prepare for secondary school during the holidays? 亚明，请回答。
Okay, so how do you prepare for secondary school during the holidays? You can do a lot of questions on the O-level papers, which will usually help you the most. This is mainly because RI has this thing which they change the syllabus from year ones every single year, especially for science. So the main things that you need to do for especially science is to do a lot of questions on the O-level papers in order to get accustomed to knowing how to answer those kind of questions. Now, one very useful thing you can do, especially after year 2 in RI, is for you to memorize the solubility table. Now the solubility table is not usually found in O-level textbooks. You will need an A-level textbook to find it, but RI always teaches the solubility table in year 3 chemistry, and if you don't memorize it, it will become very painful for you. So another thing, for English, you will have to read a lot of newspapers in the holidays, which will greatly help your compositions in RI. And for math, I would recommend you to study trigonometry and mensuration, because that is usually what the students in RI would tend to struggle a bit more in, and yet the teachers would usually not teach as much for those kind of subjects. And for Chinese, I would recommend you to at least know all the words in the Chinese textbook.
Thank you. Question 2. 请问 DSA 申请会用到小5成绩吗？对 PSLE 分数有什么要求吗？ Will Primary 5 results be considered during DSA? Is there a minimum PSLE score requirement? Please answer, Yixuan.
Yes, the school will look at your academics results from primary 1 to primary 6, but I think the most important area would be the primary 6 preliminary exams results. However, if you DSA through other areas like CCA or leadership, I don't think the school will focus on your academic results. As for me, I went through DSA and I received a confirmed offer, and according to the form from the school, you are not allowed to choose other schools after you accept the offer. if you get into the school through the SCA, yes, there will be a minimum PSLE score requirement. And in my case, I was required to get a specific score that will qualify me for the express stream.
Thank you. Question 3. 华中有哪些 CCA？ 对比其他的男校有什么优势或独到之处？ What CCAs does Huazhong offer? Compared to other boys' schools, what does Huazhong offer that is special and unique? Eric, please answer.
We offer all the regular CCAs that other schools do, such as uniform groups, sports CCAs, and clubs as well. I think that one special thing we have was what I covered in my slides. It would be the cultural CCAs, the ones relating to Chinese culture. We do have Chinese orchestra. We also have Chinese calligraphy and several others. One thing I do have to point out, though, is that Huazhong does not actually have a art CCA, which means that if you're interested in pursuing art, like myself, you would have to pass the AP selection test and go for the AP program. So that is something that you would have to look out if you're interested in art. However, other than that, I believe that we do have a very large variety of CCAs, and if you are interested in Chinese culture and tradition, selecting our school would be an excellent choice because we have many of those cultural CCAs that I'm very sure you'd enjoy.
Thank you. Question 4. 可以分享一下你每天的安排吗？ Could you share your daily timetable? Yaomin, 请回答。
Okay, so you will usually arrive back home from school at around 3 p.m. with the days with no CCA. School is usually dismissed around 3 p.m. on average throughout the days. It is different for every day, but the latest you can get dismissed is 3 p.m. Now, if you have CCA, then the CCAs are from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. and you will be dismissed at 6 p.m. from your CCAs. This applies to both core and merit CCAs. Now, I personally sleep at 10 p.m. and I find it hard to work after 10 p.m. And because the traffic jam outside the school is quite serious, so if you go to RI, I will recommend you to be at least 15 minutes early, otherwise you won't be able to make it to the classroom, or if COVID becomes better, the parade square in time.
Thank you. Question 5. 你第三语言选了什么？可以分享一下体验吗？是每周一次吗？ What third language do you choose? And could you share your experience? Is it once per week? Yixuan, please answer.
I chose Japanese as my third language. The lessons are conducted once a week at the MOE Language Center, usually on Fridays. In your first year, you have to purchase your books online and then collect them on the first day of your first lesson. And though at first you would probably feel confused and like you might be lagging behind, but the teachers will ensure that you are able to follow up. The teachers will start from the basic and then the difficulty level will increase bit by bit. There will be exams at the end of each term, so it would be good to prepare yourself before the first lesson.
Thank you. Question 6. 华中的华文要求很高吗？高华算第三语言吗？还是必须要选另一个语言？ Is the requirement for Chinese in Huazhong very high? Does higher Chinese count as a third language, or do you need to choose another one? Please answer, Eric.
Yes, I do get this question quite often. So I did hear that higher Chinese in primary school was taught separately. It was after school. But in Huazhong Institution, we do not take it as a separate subject, and it does not count as a third language. I do not wish to be offensive, but I believe that this question is in a way fundamentally flawed because higher Chinese is just Chinese. It is as simple as that. So I believe that if you come to Huazhong, The higher Chinese is actually just taught as not regular Chinese, and if you are able to cope, it's quite fun. It's not pressuring at all. I do promise that.
Thank you. Question 7. 平日学习中，个人独立学习多，还是和同学讨论多？ Usually, do you study more by yourself or with your friends? Yaomin, please answer.
In RI, usually people would study by themselves more. This is, as I have said, usually because of the more competitive culture, and thus people would usually be motivated to study more independently. Not only that, it is also because the people in the people in RI have found that studying with classmates may negatively affect studying productivity, and thus most of the people in my batch would tend to study more independently, or different people may get different insights, and studying yourself will allow you to absorb the information better.
Thank you. Question 8. 请问无突出亮点的普通女生是否容易在 RGS 有朋友？同学关系如何？会有攀比或学校霸凌吗？ Is it easy for ordinary girls without outstanding highlights to have friends in RGS? What is the relationship between classmates? Will you be compared to other students or be bullied? Please answer, Yixuan.
I think that people get an impression that RGS is very scary and the competition is very fierce, but it is not actually like this. Everyone in RGS is very friendly and everyone will naturally get along with one another. You just have to take the first step and try to make new friends. And as I have said, everyone in RGS is part of the Raffles family. So even though I only went through 1 year in RGS, I have made amazing friends, and the bond between everyone in class is very strong, and there is always support from one another. In terms of comparison, I think it would be more of peer pressure as you compare yourself with others. But so far there has been no bullying cases, and everyone are very friendly to one another.
Thank you. Question 9. CCA 进行一段时间后，会有机会换成其他的 CCA 吗？ After CCA has been in progress for a period of time, is there a chance to change to other CCAs? Eric, please answer.
Of course, there is definitely the chance for you to change to another CCA. If you find that the CCA that you have chosen is not something that would suit you for the next 4 years that you would be at our school, you can of course apply to change CCA, because our school's best interest is for the students. Though, to begin with, I do not think that the CCA that you would choose would be something that you do not like. We do have a few weeks of orientation in which you can experience all of the CCAs as well as attend its trials. There is also a lot of consideration being taken in from what the students prefer when you are choosing your CCA.
Thank you. Question 10. RGS 同学之间学习上会互相帮忙吗？借笔记容易吗？ Do students help each other academically in RGS? Is borrowing notes easy? Yixuan, please answer.
Of course, we offer help whenever we can, and this year my friends and I even came together and organized a study group, and we share notes with one another, which helped us a lot in the year-end examinations. And as long as you ask for help, there will surely be someone who offers help. Though, as you would be getting your own personal learning device, it is better to take your own notes and pay attention in class, but feel free to share your notes with your friends.
Thank you. Question 11. 中学成绩好的学生多数都补习吗？ Do most students with good results in secondary school take tuition? Yaomin, please answer.
Not really. The people in RI that usually get good results are usually the people that pay a lot of attention in class or have siblings in the same school. Tuition does not really help much in RI as the teacher already covers far more content than what the normal tuition teacher will even know. Now, now nobody goes to tuition because because as long as you pay attention in class, seek help from classmates and clarify things with the teacher, you will not really need tuition.
Thank you. Question 12. 请问吉他学习是自学还是有老师教？是否有什么心得？一般弹奏曲目还是单弹唱？ Do you usually learn guitar by yourself, or will there be a teacher to teach you? What is your feeling towards it? Do you usually play together, or do you play and sing? Please answer, Yixuan.
As my CCA is guitar ensemble, we are required to play as a group and work with one another as we are in an ensemble. We do have an instructor who teaches us basics and assigns us the pieces to play. In your first year, you are not required to have any musical past experience if you decide to join my CCA. In the first semester, you will be doing practices with your batch mates in your own groups, and you are not allowed to join the ensemble yet. As during this period of time, you will learn a lot of new skills and concepts which you will have to remember. This is to ensure that you have the basic skills and will pass the assessment by the instructor to qualify to join the ensemble. So of course, in the first semester, practice is very important. As even if you are in year 2 or year 3, at the very end of every year, there is always an assessment to pass. If you do not pass, this means that you will have to practice with your juniors next year. We do not play and sing in the ensemble as there are different sections: auto 1, auto 2, contrabass, and bass. The basses are the chords, while the autos 1 and 2 are the melody of the piece we are playing, so we are not required to sing and play. Other than the CCA sessions, I do self-learn at home as I like to learn how to play pop songs on my own guitar. And guitar has become one of my hobbies as well.
As I am in guitar ensemble too, this is my personal experience. We usually learn guitar with an instructor. During training, the instructor usually guides us through the song once, then goes around the classroom to help and point out mistakes. Guitar practice is generally fun and enjoyable. As we are in ensemble, we play together and don't usually sing and play, as we only play songs. We will now be answering questions from the live chat. The first question from the live chat is how many CCAs a student in RGS can take? Is there a minimum and maximum? Yixuan, please answer.
You are only allowed to take one CCA in RGS as CCA sessions alone will take up 2 of your afternoons after school from 3 to 6 p.m. And there are other commitments and many assessments to be done. So if you take up 2 CCAs, which you are not allowed to, there will be no time for other assessments and you will find it very stressful. So you are only allowed to take up 1 CCA.
Thank you. Question 2. Does everyone in Hwa Chong institution take higher Chinese? Is it compulsory? How can one be exempted? Please answer, Eric.
So in order to be exempted, for each subject, it is slightly different. So for harder subjects such as English, getting A1 for every single subject, for every single class or common test will allow you to be exempted from the final exam. However, for harder subjects such as mathematics, where most of the people are all able to score very well, you would have to get at least over 90 to guarantee your exemption. So it really depends on the subject as well as how good you are at it. And in a way, I also believe that luck is involved because you really don't know how you are going to mess up in one common test or another. So in the end, you have to be lucky for all of them. You have to do well for all of them. Of course, you have to study hard. Luck is not everything, but you have to do well for all of them in order to be exempted from the final EOY exam. So that is how you get exempted.
Okay, thank you. Question 3. Does it mean Raffles Academy is an IP program and the normal is O-level track? Yaomin, please answer.
This is not true. Everybody in RI would naturally go through the IP track, unless your grades from year 1, 2, 3, and 4 are very bad. RA is a special program. It is also a pull-out program that involves a selection test which is held in year 2 and takes your year 2 grades in consideration. Now, how I would usually describe RP is that it is the normal IP track, but RA is an even harder track which you can take in year 3 and 4, and it will teach you even more advanced stuff, like up to A-level stuff in year 3 and 4. It is also more demanding and would usually require you to have a much lower commitment for your CCAs and others in order for you to do your projects in RA.
Thank you. Question 4. Can one student join both the Math and Science STMP program and New Computing Talent program at the same time? What's the criteria of selection? Eric, please answer.
There are definitely many of you who are very talented in both computing science and math, but unfortunately you are only able to join one of them. So if you are good at science and math, I would suggest you go to SMTP, and if you are good at computing, you have to go for CTP. If you're good at math, it's actually, you can go for both, because the selection criteria requires the best grade A1 for science and math for the science and math talent program, mathematics and computing for the CTP program. Mathematics is important for both in science as well as computing. So if you want to have your routes open to both programs, I would suggest that you study hard for mathematics and do well for it.
Thank you. Question 5. How many students in RI are willing to take O-level exams each year? Yamin, please answer.
Now, not a lot of students in RI have to take O-level each year. In fact, it is extremely rare that it is almost unheard of a student to take the O-level path. Now, there is one notable exception, and that is Chinese, because Chinese is only taken up to O-level, thus every single RI student has to take O-level for Chinese, but only for Chinese. In fact, the probability of people getting into RI taking O-level exams for non-Chinese subjects is very low.
Thank you. Question 6. Eric, are there any challenges you faced in Hwa Chong Institution, and how did you overcome them?
I believe the biggest challenge which I faced while I was in Hwa Chong Institution was the increased Chinese language difficulty. However, being in an environment like Hwa Chong Institution, your language naturally improves. So although I did not take higher Chinese in primary school, my Chinese gradually improved in Hwa Chong. And as you can see, through just 2 years, I am able to get the highest grade possible, A1, for the Chinese language.
Thank you. Question 7. Yamin, why did you choose RI, not HCI or NUSH? Did you make friends in RI? Is it easy to borrow notes from your peers?
Okay, now that is 3 questions. The first question, I have faced that question pretty often. Now, I chose RI at the time because at that time RI for 2019, I believe, the year that I went into RI, they had quite decent scores, and they were the only school upon the list that actually offered English literature as a subject. English literature is listed as a humanities under RI, and it's basically English, but but it's harder and requires much more analysis. Now, English, I would say that attending the English literature course in RI has greatly improved my ability to discern the meanings of people from their language and has greatly improved my critical thinking. RI is also one of the schools that offers philosophy as a compulsory subject, at least for year one and at least for year 1, 2, and 3. They do this mainly per tradition, but it is considered extremely useful for students coming from RI as it will improve their critical thinking, and I believe that that was extremely useful for me, thus I chose RI. Now, the second part of the question, I do have many friends in RI. The people in RI are extremely friendly and interlevel friendships also happen quite often. You can very easily borrow notes from friends in higher levels, and you will be able to find many friends in your same level. It is now the third question. It is relatively easy for you to ask for notes as long as you ask politely for notes and advice. You will be able to find a lot of advice and notes very easily from your friends, and as long as however certain notes are extremely hard to find, and usually I would recommend people to take down notes by themselves as their friends' notes may not be easily understood by yourself, and you will be able to understand your own notes far better.
Thank you. Question 8. What are the school hours in RGS? Yixuan, please answer.
You will be required to reach school by 7:30, and it is best to reach at about 7:20, and usually school will end at about 2 p.m. But there are study blocks, and when exams approach, their study blocks will be taken up by teachers for extra lessons, and you will reach home later during those period of time. And other than that, CCA will be on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 to 6 p.m. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you will reach home at about 6:30 or 7. Yeah.
Thank you. That will be all for our session today. If you want to know more, you can go to our WeChat or Telegram group chat to ask your questions. 由于时间的关系，我们今天的问题就回答到这里。如果您还有其他的问题想跟我们讨论，可以到我们的微信群或者 Telegram 群继续讨论。Thank you all for participating in our live stream today, and have a great weekend. 我们的分享会到此结束，感谢您来参加我们的直播。您可以关注我们的公众号，或者参加微信群，或者加入微信群和 Telegram 群，来参与更多讨论。祝大家周末愉快！